Good evening, everyone. I'm Summer Smith.
I'm Rick Adams. The Suncoast is getting ready for Idalia. Earlier today, Suncoast residents were flocking to stores hoping to finalize their preparations with some last-minute supplies.
And parts of the Suncoast under mandatory evacuations, while other areas voluntary evacuations. This as Idalia continues to grow. Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan has been tracking the storm all day long, joining us now with the very latest developments. Bob.
Thanks, Summer. Rick, Idalia continues to move to the north at 8. The pressure has been holding steady, 987 millibars. We expect it to be a hurricane with the next advisory, which is an intermediate advisory. It's not a full-blown advisory, meaning the cone won't change or shift from the 5 o'clock advisory that we just got. Top winds remain at 70 miles an hour. It looks like it's becoming more organized on the satellite imagery. It's on the western tip of Cuba right now. Here's the forecast. Cone of uncertainty, if you will, to a category right there by 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. So we expect to see rapid intensification of this storm all the way through Wednesday morning. Here we are at 2 a.m. Wednesday, and you'll notice it's slowed down a little bit as far as that landfall goes. Category 3 storm, we're talking 120 mile an hour winds, gusts up to 150. I got a sneaking suspicion that it will be higher than this at this point, making landfall as a category strong 3 or possibly 4 as the storm moves on to the northeast. Now, this is our high-res in-house model, and I'm going to show you this as we go through time. I've moved it forward to Tuesday morning. You'll see you'll have some time in the morning to get things done. Won't be too windy, won't be too rainy. There could be a few showers around, but nothing significant as far as winds go at this point. So if you have to do some traveling to the store, gassing up your car, should be okay tomorrow morning. But then look out as feeder bands continue to move in. They begin just after, say, 2, 3 o'clock in South Sarasota and then work their way through during the evening. We're talking rainfall amounts up to pretty high, 6 to 8 inches in some isolated areas. Notice here we are at 8:15. The storm at this point will be a category 2, possibly a 3, and it's still a good distance away from us. You go ahead and take a look at the distance from this particular model, and there's Sarasota right there again, pushing it off toward the center. We're talking 100 miles away. Now, there is still a chance it could shift to the east because of our coastline. It wouldn't take much for it to have more impacts along the west coast of Florida. So this is not set in stone. We could still see some significant impacts, obviously, from the storm, even with the center off here. Now, this is a new high-res model. I want to show you this. I'm just now seeing this as well, getting really close to the mouth of Tampa Bay. So this is shifted off toward the east, and that's what we're going to see, I think, over the next 24 hours. Even though most of the models agree that it's going to make landfall in the Big Bend area in the Wednesday morning, these little shifts have to be watched very closely with the high-res models. They did excellent with Ian, showing that turn again into Charlotte Harbor and their Cayo Costa as well a lot sooner. So this would be devastating here, even closer still to our coast, as you see right there. That would be an eye wall. That would be a category 3 storm. That's going to create a tremendous amount of surge, and we are under a surge warning at this point. Once it gets to the north, you think you're out of the woods. Not necessarily. Those winds will turn off to the west, southwest. That will continue to be a problem in the early morning hours with storm surge. So even though the heavy part of the storm will be to our north on Wednesday morning, there's still that coastal problem of storm surge along some of the rivers and streams too. Power outages will be a problem during the morning hours, and we'll get more on that in just a little bit. Rainfall potential, yeah, it's there. It's going to be heavy, not as heavy as Ian, but still could cause some localized flooding problems. Well, more on the forecast and other aspects of it with the watches and warnings, as well as some of the spaghetti plots coming up in just a little bit. Rick, back to you.
All right, Bob, thanks a lot. And of course, we do have team coverage tonight ahead of Idalia. Our reporters covering the entire Suncoast as people get ready and prepare. We do start in Manatee County. Mandatory evacuations have been issued for Level A areas and voluntary evacuations for Level B areas. Everyone living in mobile homes and RVs are urged to evacuate. Not everyone, though, plans on leaving. Brigham Harris joining us live now over at a Bradenton Mobile Home Park. And Brigham, what can you tell us tonight?
Residents here in the Plantation Cove mobile home park are telling me that it was a no-brainer of a decision to stay behind and ride the storm out. They're telling me that they're going to stay behind. They're going to batten down the hatches, so to speak, and hope to see the sunshine in a couple of days. This specific mobile home park is several miles away from any river or large body of water, but it's still under a level A mandatory evacuation. Phil Eddy says he's lived through earthquakes in Los Angeles and that the preparation is similar. He says his decision to stay behind, despite the evacuation order, is to take care of the people closest to him.
You know, we're one of the counties with like some of the most retired people in the nation or whatever. It's like a lot of people don't, you know, they panic easily and stuff like that. You don't want that because a lot of people need help. And we've checked with all our neighbors already. I'll check with, and he will too. We'll check with all our neighbors again tomorrow, see if anybody needs anything or whatever. Yeah. And that's what we do.
Now, every resident that I have specifically spoken to say that they mirror the same sentiment. They will also be staying behind, staying with their home and with their belongings. But I was told by a resident just a few minutes ago that he had a neighbor who says that they've left and that they've taken off. So it seems like as this storm does get closer, people start to maybe change some of their decisions. But we'll keep you updated on all of those things, of course. Rick, we'll send it back to you.
All right, Brigham, thank you. Now, with the storm expected to start affecting the Suncoast possibly as early as tomorrow, a lot of people are now stocking up on food and supplies ahead of time. To the stores today, they found the shelves empty. Items like water gone. Many stocking up, taking the storm very seriously.
That's right. Sophia Votella is live over at a Home Depot in Bradenton, where she says it was a busy day all day long. Good evening, Sophia.
Rick, supplies are running out fast, and several items at this Home Depot behind me are already out of stock. Walmarts in the area also facing serious shortages as customers keep coming in preparation for Idalia. Every place I visited today, whether a supermarket or home improvement store, the parking lots were nearly full. Suncoast residents could be seen walking in and out with gallons of water, non-perishable foods, batteries, and flashlights. Some people I talked to aren't worried about the storm just yet, but one resident is afraid of what it may bring.
High winds are very dangerous. High winds, well, you know, they create flooding, surges, water surges, but high winds are very dangerous, knocking down trees and, you know, taking your roof off.
Now, the Suncoast is projected to feel those storm elements later in the day tomorrow. So if you still need to get to supplies, try to go out to your local stores earlier in the morning. In Bradenton, Sophia Vitello, ABC 7, your local station.
Okay, very busy out there. Thank you, Sophia. In Sarasota, sandbag locations closing for the night just a couple of minutes ago at 7 o'clock tonight. Dozens of people showing up and filling them ahead of the big storm. There was a maximum amount of bags, though. The county only allowing 10 per vehicle.
And if you couldn't make it out there today, all the sites will be opening up once again tomorrow morning starting at 7. ABC 7's Michaela Redmond joining us live from the Ed Smith location in Sarasota. Michaela, this was a busy place today, showing again residents are taking the storm seriously.
Yes, Summer, many of the residents coming out here today tell me that the biggest priority is just getting prepared. A lot of them also say that it's scary, especially with how Hurricane Ian came through last year. Long lines throughout the day at Ed Smith Stadium. Cars jam-packed with sandbags and even trucks delivering more sand for residents to stock up with. One thing everyone can agree on is that it's better to be overly prepared instead of waiting last minute. Mike McNulty says he is still waiting to work things out with insurance to fix his small business just down the street from the stadium. Hurricane Ian caused serious damages, including the loss of the roof. McNulty says he's afraid of what Idalia will bring in terms of flooding, which is why he's getting sandbags today.
We have leaks around the doors, bottoms of the doors on the store we own, and so that helps keep the water out if it should rain too much. Weight down tarps, you know, if you need to repair the roof. They're just general all around good use during a storm.
The other sandbag locations in the county are Twin Lakes Park in Sarasota and South County Fleet in Venice. And again, all of these locations will be open tomorrow starting at 7 in the morning. Reporting live in Sarasota, Michaela Redmond, ABC 7, your local station.
All right, Michaela, thanks a lot. And everything you need to know about hurricane season and how to prepare is on our website at mysuncoast.com under the Hurricane tab. We also have our Hurricane Eye of the Storm Survival Guide, and we've also made it very convenient for you to stay updated on all things weather related. You can download our ABC7 First Alert Weather app on your mobile devices.
Looking ahead as
I guess I'll take this summer. Looking ahead as we track Tropical Storm Delia. While we have crews gathering content around the Suncoast, we also depend on our viewers for pictures and video. If you are in a safe spot and would like to share your photos and videos with us, we'd love to feature them on the air and on our website as well as social media.
And we've made it easy for you to contact us. Just go to mysuncoast.com. Coming up, more coverage on Tropical Storm Dahlia. Lots of closures to tell you about. We'll get you all caught up after the break. As the storm approaches, Suncoast schools are not taking any chances. The Sarasota County School District is closing schools tomorrow and Wednesday. Some will be functioning as evacuation centers. If you have a child who is enrolled at a charter school, parents are urged to check directly with these schools for updates on closures.
And the Manatee County School District also letting parents and students know that all schools and support sites will be closed tomorrow and Wednesday. Freedom Elementary, Miller Elementary, and Mills Elementary all opening as shelters. All extracurricular and athletic activities ended earlier tonight at 6 o'clock. They will resume once school reopens.
And local colleges also closing their doors. New College of Florida is closed tomorrow. As of now, classes will resume there on Wednesday, provided the campus does not suffer damage or a power loss. And dining services will remain operational, but we're told the coffee shop will be closed. Students in partner hotels will have 3 box meals delivered throughout the day. Also, all USF campuses will be closed both tomorrow and Wednesday. The City of Venice providing opportunities for residents to get sandbags. Bags can be picked up at City Hall on Venice Avenue or at the Public Works Building on Ridgewood Avenue. And those residents in need of sandbags can also pick them up at Wellfield Park. This is on Lucaya Avenue as well as at the Venice Community Center on Nokomis Avenue. Shovels will be provided. Bags can be filled manually by anyone in need with a limit of 10 bags per household. Also, Venice will not collect trash tomorrow, but the decision has not been made yet on whether services will resume on Wednesday. All trash not picked up today should be brought inside to minimize damage. Also in Venice, the city government closing tomorrow, as well as City Hall, the Venice Police Department, and the Venice Museum, among other locations.
In Charlotte County, they are announcing they will open a center at Centennial Park Recreation Center tomorrow at 8 a.m. It's for people who feel unsafe in their current living conditions. The center is pet friendly, and Charlotte County Transit, by the way, they can also give you a ride to that location. And just a reminder, the disaster preparedness tax holiday, that is underway. This does include items like pet supplies, portable generators, and flashlights. It is all exempt from sales tax during the 14-day span. Also, a 7-day tool time tax holiday will start on September 2nd, offering tax exemptions on items such as tools and work boots.
And we need to take a break, but when we return, Dahlia also affecting travel plans. Hear how some Suncoast residents are navigating the storm.
Suncoast weather can change at a moment's notice. Stay ahead.
Well, hours before the storm hits, some people are getting out of town early, not taking any chances. ABC 7's Brissa Bradfield caught up with a woman who says she's not taking any chances on her trip home and has decided to drive instead of fly. Brissa's joining us live tonight, and Brissa, probably a smart move on her part.
I think so, Summer, and she does live in an evacuation zone, so she said it was the right thing to do because, like you said, she's not taking any chances. Kylie and her husband live in an evacuation zone. Her landlord went door to door telling residents that there is an evacuation order in place, and if they choose to stay, they are staying at their own risk. She has a flight booked out of SRQ to Akron, Ohio on Thursday, and with the uncertainty of what this storm may do, she and her husband have decided to leave now and make the drive.
So we have to be back in Ohio for work on Friday, and we just don't want to risk it with flights and flooding and traffic. So we're leaving now.
And I did speak to Rick Piccolo, the CEO and president of SRQ, and he says SRQ will be open the rest of the day today, and then they are waiting to see what airlines will do tomorrow, and then they will reevaluate after that. But as of now, it looks like morning schedule should be a go. Reporting live Manatee County tonight, Brissa Bradfield, ABC 7, your local station.
As you can imagine, very busy out there on all cylinders right at the moment.
Yeah, everyone's just watching this storm closely. Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan now, what's the latest?
Yeah, we're going to be happy when it's to the north of us, way to the north of us, and it's out of our area. But what's happening right now is that some models are starting to trend back toward the coast now, and that's something to watch. It's a high-res model. We showed it to you earlier. We'll keep an eye on it. We'll be going, as I said earlier, the windshield wiper effect, where it goes right, it goes left, it goes right, it goes left. But for the time being, a lot of the models are in agreement that the center should stay offshore, but that remains to be seen. I wanted to show you this radar picture. We still have some showers on shore. What usually happens is the tropical system moves in, the atmosphere really moistens up, and we start to see these bands of showers and storms really intensify with some pretty good downpours. We're going to go ahead and take a look at this down here off the Keys right now, and this is a pretty good line of showers moving pretty quickly off to the north at around 20 to 25 miles an hour. So will it hold together? It may, but we'll see more and more of these storms developing throughout the day tomorrow. We'll zoom it out and show you that showers and storms also impacting the Keys and into Miami. So this is just a start of things to come as we move through time. Now look at the satellite imagery. This is color enhanced, and the purple indicates the higher cloud tops. We're talking up to 50,000 feet or even greater than that, just off the western tip of Cuba. That's where the low is now. And since it's a little bit further off to the east or to the right, that may change the modeling here in the next 12 hours or so. Something to watch. You know, this storm so far south down into the Caribbean, a lot remains to be seen. Now, the National Weather Service puts this out. These are the threats through Wednesday, and these were down here just about 3 days ago. And you'll notice what's happened. The wind has gone up significantly. Surge has gone up really, really high. And the tornado threat has jumped a little bit. There will be some tornadoes. We'll have them for you right here at ABC 7 and on your ABC 7 mobile device. Timing-wise, let's take a look at it. So look at the core of those tropical storm force winds. They extend over 150 miles. Here we are tomorrow at 10 o'clock, and it continues to be tropical storm force winds right through sunrise on Wednesday. Meteorologist Leslie Lacey in the house. And Leslie, you'll be with me throughout the night tonight and throughout most of the early part of the morning. Meteorologist John Scalzi and Mike Modrick will take over at that point. Leslie, you have a little bit more information about the, again, the forecast and the different models that are taking shape right now.
Yeah, the latest on the spaghetti model plots. Everyone's favorite time period is to watch the pasta on the screen. So that's what I got for you. So let's go ahead and take a look at the latest spaghetti model plots here. I just want to show you. We'll try to go to that in just a moment. And right now, well, if we're having trouble with it, I'll just let you know that it's tending now to go a little bit to the west with the plots, so they're no longer coming into the Manatee County area. But as Bob just told you a second ago, we've actually got, here we go. It is starting to trend with the high resolution model a little bit to the east, okay? But nonetheless, as we go ahead and we zoom in here, I just want you to see a little bit better here. This is just, it's still coming into, say, just a tip of the Pinellas County area, but we're no longer seeing any plots right now coming through Manatee County. Now, this could change, okay? This isn't set in stone here. And again, the high resolution model is actually showing it coming a little bit different. Now, let's take a look at the rainfall potential here. And we are going to have a lot of rain coming through the area. So just look at those numbers to the right here. And this is looking at Tuesday, over ½ an inch. And then as we actually move into Wednesday, that's when we see it really kick up. And we're looking at down at Venice, almost at 4 inches here. So all over 3 inches, a little bit close to 4 as we press through Wednesday. And then as we move to Thursday, just look at the orange area there. That's where most of that rain is going to hit. You're talking about 6 to 8 inches here. So stay with us. We will keep you posted on all of the latest updates. We've got more news and weather for you throughout the night, so stay with us. We'll be right back.
Time and Temp brought to you by the man of your dreams.
Welcome back. Thanks so much for sticking around. In Manatee County, trash and recycling services will be suspended tomorrow and Wednesday. If materials are not collected by sunset tomorrow, residents should remove them from the curb and safely secure them. There will be a no waste or recycling collection as well on Wednesday. Manatee County's 311 call center is fully staffed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, fielding calls from the public about sandbag location, storm preparedness, and a whole lot more.
And in Sarasota County, all trash being asked to be brought inside beginning at 6 tonight so that the waste does not create an airborne hazard. All scheduled collection services have been canceled for tomorrow due to the unpredictability of the storm's path. Now, collections for the remainder of the week will be delayed by at least 1 day, with tentative plans to resume this Wednesday. The Central County landfill, Nokomis, is scheduled to maintain normal operating hours tomorrow, and unloads must arrive at least 30 minutes prior to closing. And the Bee Ridge Chemical Collection Center in Sarasota, the Jackson Road Chemical Collection Center, and the Citizens Convenience Center at the landfill will all be closed tomorrow.
Well, Idalia does remain on a path to hit Florida's Gulf Coast. Right now, Idalia is still forecast to make landfall as a Category 3 hurricane sometime on Wednesday. Power outages are expected and storm surge will likely be an issue, expected to be up to 11 feet in some areas. Governor Ron DeSantis saying there doesn't appear to be anything to prevent the storm from strengthening.
Prepare for major impacts. This track has been a little bit more consistent than maybe some in the past, but one wobble one way or another, you could start to see even more impacts in places.
And the governor is also stressing Floridians need to prepare for all of the destruction that could come with Idalia.
Be prepared to lose power. This is going to come in, if it's Cat 3 plus, there's going to be a lot of trees that are going to get knocked down. There's going to be a lot of debris that is going to interrupt the power lines. So just understand that is something that's going to happen.
And by the way, a Category 3 storm can produce maximum sustained winds of at least 111 miles per hour. President Joe Biden has approved an emergency declaration and ordered federal assistance.
A federal judge in Washington has set the date for when former President Donald Trump's trial related to the January 6th Capitol riot will begin in D.C. Plus, a judge in Georgia has set the next court date for when Trump and his 18 co-defendants will be arraigned in the sweeping racketeering case. Here's ABC's M. Nguyen with more.
Former President Trump and his 18 co-defendants are now set for their first court appearance in their election interference case in Fulton County, Georgia. A local judge has determined they will be arraigned separately in 15-minute increments on September 6th, with Trump going first.
We'll see the former president enter some kind of plea along with the other defendants.
One of the co-defendants, former Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, had a hearing in federal court today, arguing that his trial should be moved from Fulton County to federal jurisdiction. And in a surprise move, Meadows took the stand to make his case. District Attorney Fani Willis has accused Meadows of taking part in a sweeping conspiracy to overturn the 2020 presidential election results in the state. Meadows was on the phone call between Trump and Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger following Trump's election loss.
I just want to find 11,780 vote.
Meadows claims his case should be moved to federal court because the actions he undertook were part of his chief of staff duties and were done at the direction of former President Trump. During today's hearing, Meadows testified that part of his job was to be in almost every meeting the president had. The DEA had subpoenaed Raffensperger and other witnesses to make her case that Meadows violated the Hatch Act, which bars federal employees from using their official roles to engage in partisan political activity. At least 4 other defendants are also seeking to move their case to federal court.
And I think if you look at it, it was most likely that he was operating as a part of the Republican Party, which would be a political role and not his official role as the chief of staff.
And in Washington, a judge ruled that Trump's federal trial on charges related to trying to overturn the 2020 election, including his rhetoric leading up to the deadly January 6th attack on the Capitol, will begin March 4th of next year, the day before Super Tuesday on the GOP primary calendar. M. Wynn, ABC News, Washington.
And FEMA is awarding $3 billion to help build resiliency against extreme weather. They have already approved one project that combats extreme heat by planting thousands of trees. Other communities have been awarded money to upgrade their energy grid, install new sewers, and elevate homes in flood-prone areas. This money is coming from the infrastructure law Congress passed last year. FEMA's Disaster Relief Fund is about to run out of money now after a record-breaking year of disasters. FEMA does need Congress to approve additional spending.
COVID infections are rising again across the U.S. Experts say COVID is still more dangerous than the flu. However, it's not as easy to catch as it used to be. Health experts say this is because the virus has changed our immunity, and now nearly all Americans have some form of immunity against the virus. The CDC says more than 90% of Americans have some degree of immunity through vaccinations, infection, or both. The CDC says new updated COVID vaccines will be coming out soon.
For weeks now, there has been a growing problem of retail theft. Some stores in big cities are being targeted repeatedly, but now a major arrest in Los Angeles. Here's ABC's Morgan Norwood with more.
10 people are under arrest after a 2-day sting operation at this Nike store in Los Angeles. Police say they've recovered more than $3,000 of merchandise, but say that's a drop in the bucket compared to how much has been taken from that store in recent months.
Nike, over a year period, lost close to $1 million just in that one store.
The National Retail Federation says organized retail crime is on the rise, accounting for $94.5 billion in losses in 2021, driven by inflation and what critics say is a lack of law enforcement.
It's extremely difficult to quantify the degree of the problem because not a lot of information is shared.
In this shocking incident, a group of juvenile suspects robbing a sporting goods store, taking off with BB guns before being apprehended by police. Some retailers taking matters into their own hands. Walgreens has opened an anti-theft store in Chicago. All but 2 aisles of merchandise are locked up and need to be ordered from a kiosk. And Dollar Tree, which says shoplifting is a factor in falling profits, is removing some products from stores in certain locations. Others are shutting their doors. Nordstrom yesterday closed its flagship store in San Francisco after more than 30 years, amid concerns about crime and declining foot traffic. Morgan Norwood, ABC News, New York.
All right, we are continuing to track tropical storm Dahlia, and who is actually strengthening at this point. We've got all the latest on the projections of where it's headed, the cones, and also the watches and warnings, advisories, and also a look at our local forecast for tomorrow. So stay tuned with the latest. We'll be right back after this.
Summer is Honda Pilot savings time.
With Dahlia expected to make landfall on Wednesday, FEMA is warning those in affected areas to have an evacuation plan, an emergency communication plan, and make sure all of your items are charged and you have tanks full, or your tanks are full of gas.
Not only medications, but having your go bag ready, making sure your pets' needs, if you have them, any service animals, ensuring that you have all the resources you need packed and ready to go. So if those warnings come in, you can heed them quickly.
And President Biden has given the green light for an emergency declaration for Florida.
And the state has already mobilized 1,100 members of the National Guard along with a fleet of aquatic rescue crafts. And Bob, that's probably a very smart thing to be doing right now.
Yeah, lots of preparation and planning going on right now before the storm's impacts start to impact our area. Beginning late tomorrow afternoon, but more so Tuesday evening. It's going to be a tough sleep Wednesday morning for everyone here along the Sun Coast as a result of the feeder bands and the strong winds will start to move in. You can see from the satellite imagery, boy, this thing's looking to be moving more to the northeast in these last few frames right there. You can kind of see that shift off toward the northeast. We'll see a western tip of Cuba. Once it gets into the southeastern Gulf of Mexico, that's when we expect it to really get its act together. Right now, there's been some shear on the western edge. You can see that there's no real banding features here, but on the eastern side, there certainly is more symmetry with this storm as it kind of feeds off to the northeast. And look at this is Franklin, a major hurricane out there, which is also kind of directing where Idalia is going to be moving as high pressure is building in behind where it took off, and that's going to drive this off to the north. So lots of influencing factors still yet to be determined exactly with 100% accuracy with this storm center. So we're still in that chance. A majority of us will see those tropical storm force winds. That's sustained winds above, again, 39 miles an hour basically for over a minute. And that's going to happen for much of the coastal area as well as even near I-75, Lakewood Ranch. The chances go down into Highlands County as you move closer to time. These are the timelines now. This is the leading edge of the tropical storm force winds. And you can see this is Tuesday at 8 o'clock at night cutting through Sarasota. So that's when it begins really for us. We could see a few gusty winds prior to that, but basically starting in Venice around 6 p.m. and then continuing throughout our area by 8 p.m. up near Bradenton and eventually pushing through Parrish. Well, your chances for those 70-mile-an-hour winds. Now, we got to keep a close eye on this. So with the next model update at 11 o'clock, this could change. Right now, our chances are really low, which is good because the center is projected to stay offshore many hundreds of miles, at least over 100 miles, I should say. So still a slight chance of getting hurricane force winds, but less likely at this point. But I would not be surprised to see that inch eastward here. And again, Leslie's going to take it over now and show us what the story is, Leslie, with this storm system, where it's headed, and what we can expect with it over the next 24 to 48 hours.
Yeah, and of course, we do have another update, an intermediate update that's going to be coming up shortly. But let's go ahead and take a look at that cone. So here is the latest. Now, this came out at 5 o'clock, so I want you to see. And as we continue to track this, the wind at last check 70 miles per hour, and then moving north, now as Bob just said, a little bit to the northeast, around 8 miles per hour. And we've got pressure of 987. So look at the cone now as it moves up. I just want you to see, look, Tuesday by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, we're looking at 105 miles per hour. That's the latest projection, but that could even be stronger when the new update comes in, gusts of 125. And then look at this, so by Wednesday morning, it turning into a Category 3, and that is, as you can see, just a bit west here of our area between Tampa and Sarasota. So keeping a real eye on that. But also look, it's no longer, this cone is actually narrowed, and it's no longer encompassing the Sun Coast area. That doesn't mean that it can't change and move over, but at this point it has slightly moved to the west. But of course, some of the models, high-resolution models, showing it moving a little bit to the east again. So when that, it would be a very important update when we get that. We've got another one coming up, intermediate update. It's going to come up shortly in about 15 minutes. So, and meanwhile, the watches, warnings, and advisories. Look at this; it's pretty much all red throughout the west coast of Florida. But we are in a hurricane warning in Manatee County, and that's going to last through Thursday. That's not going anywhere. And then also a hurricane watch in Sarasota County, and then a tropical storm warning. And this is actually in, you can see Hardy, all of our counties, Lee County, also Sarasota County as well, DeSoto, and the Port Charlotte area too. So and even all the way down into Fort Myers. So this is a tropical storm warning that's going to be in effect through Thursday as well. So taking a look at the spaghetti model plots. This is the latest here. Again, moving up, showing that area in the Big Bend is basically one of the main landing spots. But just look to the far right there. Again, this is pushed out of the Suncoast area. Now, yesterday we had several lines coming through Manatee and even Sarasota and even further to the south. This has moved in this model. Now, again, when we get that update, it might be moving a little bit down towards us. So we'll keep you posted on this. This is the current situation. And Summer, back to you.
Leslie, thank you. And everything you need to know about hurricane season and how you should be prepared is on our website. That's mysuncoast.com. It's located under the hurricane tab. We also have our Hurricane Eye of the Storm Survival Guide. And we've made it convenient for you to stay updated on all things weather related. All you need to do is download our ABC 7 First Alert weather app on your mobile devices.
And as a reminder, looking ahead as we do track Tropical Storm Idalia, we depend a lot on our eyes and ears here on the Suncoast, and that is you, the viewers. Remember, safety first, but if you are in a safe spot and would like to share some of those photos and videos with us, you can do that. We have made it easy. All you have to do is pop on over to mysuncoast.com and head to our Share It tab. Upload your submission with a few sentences describing your content.
It's no secret that your diet affects your health, but there's new evidence that the types of food you eat, especially later in life, could affect your risk of developing heart disease or even cancer. Here's ABC's Ike Ajaji with more.
What you eat for dinner is often guided by what's available or recent cravings, but a more strategic approach can have long-lasting effects. A recent study published in the Journal of Internal Medicine looked at the heart health of 370,000 people ages 50 through 70 on various diets for more than 20 years. Researchers found that diets low in saturated fats like butter and palm oil, but high in plant proteins like beans, tofu, and nuts were associated with less heart disease, cancer, and death in people 50 to 70 years old. On the other hand, people who ate diets high in processed carbs, high in butter, and who got protein from meat struggled with more heart problems, cancers, and deaths from many different causes. The next time you decide to plan a family dinner, especially with grandparents coming, you might want to consider a more plant-based approach to the menu. Choose chicken, fish, or a vegetarian option, lots of fruits, veggies, nuts, and reach for the olive oil instead of butter. I'm Ike Ajaji.
And after the break, we'll have the latest on the tropical storm. We'll be right back. If the end of summer already has you thinking about next year's travel plans, you're not alone. But if your 2024 travel plans include a Roman holiday or spending April in Paris, you'll want to listen up. You'll need to apply in advance to go to most countries in Europe. This is a big change, and Mike Valerio explains.
So, you want to go to Europe in the new year? Well, this will likely be a new must-do, applying online to enter most European countries first before you get on a plane.
You'll enter your passport details, you'll enter a few security questions, maybe some questions about your trip details.
It's because of a new layer of European border security called the European Travel Information and Authorization System, or ETIAS. Citizens of the 60 or so non-EU countries that don't currently require a visa to enter the EU, such as the United States, the United Kingdom, and Canada, will now need a visa waiver to enter the world's largest visa-free zone. That includes countries like Italy, France, Greece, and Switzerland.
The ETIAS is basically being implemented to improve the safety, security, and to strengthen their borders in this visa-free zone. So this will screen travelers who don't require a full visa.
Designers of the system say applications should be processed in minutes. The vast majority completed in 96 hours. But authorities from the EU caution some applicants may be asked to provide additional information or documentation or to participate in an interview with national authorities, which may take up to additional 30 days.
We recommend you do these at least 30 days prior to your travel.
That's why it's advised not to book flights or accommodations until confirmation that the application is approved. I'm Mike Valerio reporting.
As we heard, already having some disruption of flights out of Tampa and St. Petersburg as a result of, again, our storm, which is going to be updated here shortly. It could be as we're on the air, but 987 on the pressure. I expect that to be going down. Winds are at 70, so just below that threshold of hurricane status and the forecast path and track. Take it in right now to the Big Bend area. It's been trending westward and northward, staying away from us as far as that goes. Now, the radar picture, I wanted to show you this real quick. We have storms popping up here and there out ahead of the actual convergent bands of this system as it gets bigger and better over the day. On Tuesday, you're going to see more of these banding features working their way through parts of the Suncoast, and sometimes these outer bands can actually produce and spawn very small but quick-moving tornadoes. So that's going to be an issue tomorrow, too, as we move through time. Satellite imagery showing a well-defined system there with good outflow on the eastern and southern portion of it. Still some shear, though, and some dry air on the western edge, inhibiting it from becoming a hurricane for the last few hours or so. So we'll watch it closely here. Obviously, you can watch it, too, on mysuncoast.com and on our ABC7 First Alert weather app. You know, surge is going to be a big problem with this one. As Leslie, you explained earlier, some of the highest surge values we've seen in years. This is not an Ian, this is not an Irma, this is not a Charlie. We're going to have surge problems.
And it's going to be a busy 48 hours here, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, we're going to have a small update in about 5 minutes from National Hurricane Center. And then, of course, the 11 o'clock update, that's going to be a really big one.
It'll be on mysuncoast.com, too. So with these updates, as soon as they become available, they are on mysuncoast.com. So you want to go there. You want to keep that First Alert weather app handy, too, especially tomorrow night and into the morning hours on Wednesday, because, you know, if you're trying to get a little sleep in, these things will wake you up if there's warnings of tornadoes or any other.
And things are changing so quickly, so you got to keep updated, definitely.
Tonight is the night to really get some rest, too, right?
Yeah.
Tomorrow morning, still have a little bit of time to prepare as well.
Okay. All right. Well, that's all the time we have. We thank you for joining us, and we'll be back with more local news and weather at 11.
Good night. See you then.
Good night, everybody.